You
Yeah.
know what I'm watching right now? Like, I'm not really watching. I mean, I have the video on.
Which one?
I'm watching an interview, and I don't know what's being said because I don't have the sound on, obviously. But it's an interview between Hans and Daniel Naroditsky.
Okay.
It's after the Hans versus Wesley match,
Okay.
and they've been talking for like the last 30 minutes. I don't know. They've been talking for a long time, and I don't know what they're saying, but clearly a lot of things are being said. I mean, we'll have to like watch this after.
I'm letting the chess speak for itself, and I think that throughout my entire chess career, it'll become abundantly clear that I deserve an apology. But I'm not a victim, so I don't need an apology. My vengeance will be victory on the chessboard.
But it's getting very intense without actually knowing what is being said.
I have no idea
So
what they're saying. So this is my guess. I would assume Hans is perhaps not very happy with Magnus not playing him in the World Rapid and Blitz or the Team Rapid and Blitz.
do you think it's
If we
about
are to
Magnus?
speculate, that's my guess. I think
Here's
it's
the
just
thing: it's
like,
like
yes, go ahead.
yeah, it could be about Magnus. That's true. But the thing is, like Magnus is not part. I mean, I understand that that's an issue between Hans and Magnus, right?
Yes,
But there's not really much that Danya can like say about that. He's an
correct.
interviewer,
Yes,
and this has nothing to do with the match with Wesley
of course not.
that they just played. Hans won, by the way. He beat Wesley. He beat Maxime before that, and it is kind of relevant in the sense that there is a high probability that Hans and Magnus get paired next match. That's sort of if that's what he's talking about. But yeah, it does look like there is definitely some discussion, some drama, you can call it.
First of all,
And
Magnus hasn't won his game against Eric Gaisi yet.
oh yeah, sure.
He's
There's
a
a
big
probability.
favorite to win that match, and if he wins that, he's going to qualify to the semifinals in Paris, where he will be meeting Hans, and that would be the first time they meet over the board since obviously the incident at the Single Cup 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But yes, this has been, let's say, the discussion after Hans tweeted about it, that people were speculating whether Magnus was afraid of Hans, whether he was just like not liking him and didn't want to play against him. Nobody knows exactly what the situation is between them. Only the players Hans and Magnus do know that, but
Well,
Magnus,
they also might not
they will be
know.
forced
I
to
mean,
play if
they don't know like the other person's position. Like Magnus knows why he's not playing.
Right.
Hans doesn't know why Magnus did. Well, we should say not. It's not that they're not playing. It's that they didn't play in the World Team Rapid and Blitz Championship. Um, they were paired twice, their teams.
Yes.
And Magnus and Hans were both the first boards, but Magnus chose to
sit out.
sit out for those two rounds, and instead, or maybe it was more than 2 rounds, maybe it was 3 rounds, and instead Hans played Jan multiple games. I think they drew in Rapid
3 rounds,
and I think
one
Jan
Rapid
won
and 2 Blitz.
and lost 2 in Blitz. I don't know. On like I was a bit confused about the format, but I think that it was like 2-1 for Jan in Blitz. Maybe I'm mistaken. But anyway, so Magnus chose not to play Hans. His reasons, I mean, we can actually like speculate on it fairly, but there's no real point. I mean, it's clear that he didn't want to play for whatever reason. And in a team event, that is, of course, his prerogative, depending on if his team is okay with it. And in an individual event, of course, it's a very different thing, because if you sit out in an individual event, like he did in Singfield Cup, for example, we're going already back 2 years, but very significant event in recent chess, then you forfeit the game. Very often you forfeit the tournament. You mess up the tournament standings. You give a free win to your opponent. It's a different situation. So in a team event, it's like it's not very dramatic. You just get replaced by your second board, right? And nothing else changes. But in an individual event, it's I would think if Magnus beats Arjun, then he is certainly going to play the semi-final match against Hans.
Correct.
But yeah, okay. Anyway, I don't know what they're talking about. It's just this is still going on. It's a long interview.
I'm sure we will be able to crop a couple of highlights in the post-production. Maybe we'll add a few. But yeah, should be an interesting time in Paris. That actually happens in September, just before the Olympiad starts.
Number 6th, I believe.
Yes, 6th.
It's also interesting to me that with all the stuff going on in chess, there is one guy who's at the controversial center of it all for one reason or another. And somehow Danya is like placed. He's not a part of it, but he's placed in like you remember the stuff the where Danya was playing Jacobson, right? So he's like not part of it, but then he gets placed in these positions
Yes.
as an interviewer, as a player. It's funny.
Yeah. But
It was Danya who played Jacobson in
who
that.
played Jacobson, Visu, the infamous Visu that got banned on chess.com and never reinstated, and we had the whole Reddit situation. But I don't think Danya commented publicly about that. I don't think he
Did,
gave.
but
He didn't
okay,
have like a huge opinion on it. He was just
no,
like,
he didn't. He didn't give like a controversial opinion, but
Yeah.
he did speak about it. I don't. I'm not. I don't remember what he said, but he did like speak on his channel, Twitch channel, about it and gave his thoughts, which I won't say because I'm not sure that I'll remember or get it right. But yeah, in general, Danya is.
I think the
is a
main
very-
point was basically that he didn't accuse Visu or his opponent of cheating. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they spoke. He said they spoke about it like between themselves, and well, that's the thing. Like when a chess website takes the onus, like we have a lot of people who make their own insinuations, publicly or privately, right? And then that's not a very official thing, right? So very often they get flack for that. But when the like chess website takes the onus on them, then usually the chess player steps out because then it's like more their territory, right, on the chess website. But Donnie is like not he's a very fair and unbiased person in general. So it's just funny that he's like being placed into these controversial situations.
And look, that could be something that they're chatting about. Who knows? Because we know that Hans is somewhat of a friend, I guess, with Brandon Jacobson. They played on the same team at this World Rapid and Blitz. So yeah, definitely some connections there. Who knows? Who knows? I actually have now. You're making me curious because I have no idea.
Oh, they're still talking. They're still talking. It's been. I can tell you how long it's been.
It's been a while.
So-
You're making me curious right now.
Well, I'm also curious, but I can tell you when the interview started. So it started 26 minutes ago. No, like 27 minutes ago.
That's probably historically the longest interview in Speech Championship history.
Oh, like 100%. It's 100% the longest interview. Like usually when I played Serrana afterwards, I won against Serrana. I gave like a 5-minute thing with Danny. And then I also gave an interview after I lost to Ali Reza in the quarterfinal match, right?
Yeah.
And then I gave like another 5-minute interview. Like 5 minutes is because nobody really would want to tune in for 25 minutes unless I guess it gets very controversial and there's like 10,000 people watching, so I'm pretty sure people are tuning in, which probably means it's very controversial.
That's why I speculated. It's about Magnus and whatever is going to happen in that one. But yes, if Magnus defeats Eric Gaisi in the quarterfinals, then they're going to meet for the very first time, which will definitely be quite a spectacle for sure. Whatever happens in that one, everybody will be tuning in.